I can be violent. I can be that guy. That's part of who I am.
Batista bomb!
Dave Batista, a man like a mountain, as famous in wrestling as he is successful in Hollywood. He loves the spotlight, and he hates it at the same time. There are two sides to Batista, the loud one and the quiet one, the faithful and the unfaithful, the brave and the fearful, the peaceful and the violent.
I want to be a peaceful, passive person. That's my nature, but if it calls for it, I'll punch you in the face.
Batista's personality is a jigsaw puzzle. In this documentary, we put the pieces together and peek behind the shiny facade of the megastar, at crushing setbacks and hard-earned tears of joy, at a life story both shocking and fascinating.
I have a love-hate relationship with my lifestyle. Girls were always an issue.
He always looked kind of sad.
I had no future until I started wrestling.
It didn't go according to plan. Their rivalry was actually not the stuff in the ring. It was behind the scenes.
I thought I was going to lose my job.
I've never seen David cry so hard.
When Batista talks about his dark past in interviews, he doesn't pull any punches. His childhood was marred by violence and poverty.
Man, we had nothing. A lot of times we just ate any kind of food.
Dave's parents split when he was just 1 year old. Dave never got to know his father. He was like a stranger.
I don't know what it's like to have a father. I just don't know him. He doesn't know me. I just don't have a connection with him.
Growing up, Dave Batista never really had a place to call home. He shared one mattress with his sister and mother in a damp basement room.
We actually lived in the basement of this house, so right where that door is, that's where we lived.
Right outside the door, gangs are shooting up the block. There are bloodstains on the sidewalk. No place for a child.
Outside was scary. DC, 80s, 90s, horrible place. It was really dangerous.
I think I saw and witnessed a lot more than most other kids.
I've been in the middle of people shooting in the street.
Growing up on the rough side of town left its marks on Dave Batista. It shaped him. He had the wrong friends, the wrong role models, so he made the wrong decisions.
I was a product of my environment. I was never a violent kid, but I got in a lot of fights. You know, I was never a thief, but I stole stuff.
As a teenager, Dave went off the rails. He and his buddies got into carjacking. His aggressive behavior often backfired. He'd beat up his schoolmates or kids in the neighborhood, and he'd get beaten up too. His mother started to worry more and more about him.
I saw it getting worse and worse, and I thought, my son's gonna either end up dead or in prison.
Dave always struggled to find his place, socially. He always felt different.
I was real shy. I was an introvert. Yeah, I had always had a little bit of, I think, social anxiety.
School was a constant uphill battle for Dave. He had ADD and struggled especially with reading. He often found himself in difficult situations. Sometimes he'd have to read aloud in class, and Dave would sit there, sweating, a bundle of nerves. The letters, black and white before him, but he couldn't make sense of them. Dave became an outcast. School was torturous to him, so he stopped going.
Didn't finish high school. I just didn't want to be there. I just felt like, I don't know, such an outcast at school.
He tried living with his dad for a while, but it felt like living at a stranger's place. Dave still didn't have a home. Then when he was 17, he got into a nasty fight with his father, one that had serious consequences.
My dad kicked me out of the house. Back then, it was really just a matter of making money to buy food and kind of support myself as best as I could. I don't know too many kids that age who are out on their own, without a family to support them.
Batista was thrown into the deep, and early on, he was practically homeless, spending every day just trying to keep his head above water. Dave's address changed daily, surfing one couch after another, and every day he walked the gray streets alone. With nothing else to do, he started hitting the gym, and hitting it hard. Bodybuilding became his one focus in life. It gave him the direction he'd been craving. He wanted to bulk up and never be on the losing end of a street fight again.